Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Inside the Force. Dave Cottingham here with me, Casey Cooley.
Hello, everybody.
I hope everybody's having a great December as we wrap down towards the end of the year.
I feel like everybody's got one thing on their mind. Not just they want one thing for Christmas.
That's
almost.
right. Yeah, that's true.
A trailer would be tops.
Yes.
Santa can make that happen.
I mean, or I just want the title.
That would be fine.
Or even just the title, So, but we'll talk about that, and we'll talk about some other things. But and then the big thing, I think this episode, as we probably this, unless there is footage, I think this is probably our last episode of 2018.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we'll do a kind of a recap of what we've got this year. That's something I don't think we've really ever done. It's kind of looked back and what did we get this year, and I think maybe the first episode back we'll talk more about what we look forward to, obviously, in 2019, because 2019 is a big year for Star Wars, huge year. I think in Disney in general. I mean, Disney.
Oh yeah. In general, absolutely. They got so many things happening: live action, animation, all that stuff. Conventions. Star Wars, especially. Unfortunately, most of that's happening towards the end of the year.
Theme parks.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like there's so much going on next year. So we'll do that. We'll look back at this year and what we and just what we've liked and what we've got this year from everybody. So. But before we do that, before you kind of talk about what we are looking for, I think the only couple things to mention, really, big news, some news anyway, is they announced Solo is actually going to be on Netflix come January, which is, I was thinking last weekend, I went and saw Aquaman, and I was thinking, though, that this should be Solo that I'm sitting here watching.
In December?
Yes. Yeah. I should be watching a Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
And I think Solo would have done really good this month. Mm-hmm. My opinion only. But, and then, of course, the news that just dropped today was Warwick Davis returning to Star Wars Celebration.
Is this the first time he's been the main, the Celebration stage host?
It's a celebration stage, right?
But for the States, is this the first time he's done that for the States? Because he did he did our stage for Orlando last time.
Yeah, I can't. Is he saying? Are they saying he's the main host?
I don't think he's the main host. He
hosts the celebration stage.
The main host, which I thought did the celebration stage. The main host is Amy Ratliff and
David Collins?
David Collins, right? Aren't they the main hosts?
No, I think they were on the other stage. I think
they're just other stages right now.
So there's the Galaxy stage, there's the celebration stage, and I think there was another. They added a third one.
Behind the scenes stage.
Oh yeah, the behind the scenes stage maybe.
Yeah.
I think Warwick was the celebrator. I think he was the main. Was he? No, because we were in his.
We were in his, yeah. He
wasn't the main where the people came out, right?
No. But he went for Europe, for Germany. I think
he was the main host.
He was the main host.
You're right.
James Arnold Taylor was the main host for some of the ones in Orlando.
Yes,
and he did all. He did the celebration. He did it all pretty much. But the year where Jon Stewart did the celebration stage, main stage with George Lucas, he wasn't the host of the entire thing. So. Yeah, I don't think that necessarily means he's the.
No, but the guy that played Typho, Captain Typho was the main host
that year. Yeah. Celebration 5.
I don't know who was the main host last celebration. That was when we did the 40th anniversary panel. We were there with
Josh Gad hosted that panel.
Who was
for Last Jedi? But the main host.
But who were we watching on TV? Was it Warwick Davis? I think it was Warwick.
Warwick Davis, he was our in-person host. We were watching on TV, on the screen, Josh Gad. Didn't he interview everybody?
Oh, you're right. I think Josh Gad did.
He was the surprise guest.
Man. Yeah.
And Gwendolyn Christie did the one over in London. So they always have a special guest for that celebration stage, for that main event, for the main film.
Yeah. So maybe they haven't announced that yet. I think he might be just on one of the side stages, but probably should have.
Well, he's the main stage. He's the celebration stage, but it's just
is that the main stage?
That's the main stage.
Okay,
but I feel like they've always had a host outside of that. But
yeah,
and usually it's David Collins. I feel like who does most of it, or
he does a lot of the panels.
Yeah, he does a lot of panels.
So. A lot of the panels,
but it's still a big deal, and
it's a very big deal. I mean, he's a big staple, and especially
he was just in Solo.
He was just in Solo, and he's still in a lot of the movies. He was a voice on the Rebels.
It was Rook.
Student Star Wars. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out. Anyway, so that's really the only news. I know we talked about. We'll talk about the rumor you're hearing, I guess.
Yeah, well, movie-wise, everything's quiet. I imagine Episode 9 they got a month or two left of shooting.
Yes.
I think, right? Something around there. But that is, of course, what is on all our minds, and a trailer. Think of when we're going to get the latest rumors, and yeah, as I said, it's just still rumor, but we hear on Reddit, Star Wars News Net is talking about it, where we possibly could get some footage. Some of the radars are picking up that we maybe get some footage, not necessarily a teaser or a trailer before the end of the year, but some form of footage. I don't think that means behind the scenes reel. That seems too early, although I would love that.
Yeah.
Or if it's just like a 15-second, like a 5-second just clips, which is in a sense to me is a teaser. If you have any sort of grouping of footage from the film, to me it's a teaser. Unless it's just some kind of marketing thing for Disney, which includes a few quick glimpses of Episode 9 along with other films coming out next year. That could be something where it's like a look forward in Disney, and this is all the films you're going to get through Disney, and they throw in 2 quick shots of Episode 9 along with all their other awesome movies coming out next year. So that's the possibility. The reason why if we would, I think we would have already gotten a trailer by now. If it's going to be on Mary Poppins, we would have gotten it already online, or.
But it doesn't open till tomorrow, so maybe it gets released tomorrow. Maybe
they could really be doing such a great job of holding this close to the chest until the day out. That would be fantastic, because that doesn't happen anymore. But yeah, I mean, there's always room for surprising. It's just the Star Wars marketing, Disney marketing, sometimes to me seems random, so I don't even know what to expect.
Yeah,
but I've always anticipated and hoped we'd get something this year. But I mean, we got 10 days left.
Yeah,
13 days left.
I don't know. It's going to be tough.
But the rumor is, yes, anywhere from 7 to 10 days, we might be getting some form of footage.
Because they're still shooting, right? I mean, they're still in production. So this would be obviously based on just what they've shot, probably shot in the first few weeks. But, JJ, I feel like JJ always has a plan. I feel like even though the directors usually aren't so involved in the marketing, I feel like he knows what he wants to release, because if you look back at all his movies, especially the ones that were kind of under wraps, like Cloverfield or Super 8, they were just glimpses. They weren't really story trailers. They were really just to get you excited,
And then his company, the Bad Robot, I think they had a handle on that marketing, probably more so than what they have now. I'm guessing, even though they do have the Bad Robot logo at the end of the Force Awakens, didn't they? I think
they did
at the end of the credits. So
he's a producer.
They're still involved. They
film.
did some pickup shots, So
yeah. He's definitely a producer.
Marketing wise, though,
he's the executive. He was listed as executive producer on Last Jedi.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
So I think that he's got a hand in it, and I definitely think he's got to be able to say, like, okay, you can show this, but don't show this, and don't do this, and don't do that.
That's just funny, because we all thought we would have already gotten some of those glimpses through his Twitter account. Like, that was the whole point.
Has he done anything on there?
Just the first image.
One image, that's it.
When he created it, of the camera.
That's him, man. He just one little quick thing. It's like,
That's it.
yep, that's it. Get excited. And
Or he just doesn't have time to do it.
That's
Just doesn't
true.
do it. You know, so because that was everybody thought, oh great, we're gonna get like what we got for
Like
Ron
Ron Howard?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just all this cool behind the scenes stuff, and no, he haven't got anything since he first created the account.
It'd be funny. There's probably some guy following him around, guy or girl following him around taking pictures, and then he'd look at him and be like,
Stop,
"No,
stop.
don't do that.
Please
no,
stop. Yeah.
don't do that. No,
But it's
don't
just
do that. Don't post that. Don't post that."
It's just a prop. Like, no.
Yeah. Yeah. So that is tough to say. You know, if he's, you know, I don't know. You know, if he's so in the middle of shooting, also, he could not have. You know, he could not have time to
of course.
review it either. He's like, I don't.
Well, I mean, he's a busy guy outside of Star Wars. He's producing everything
Everything.
in the world, and he's being shopped around by all the studios for a huge deal. So the guy has no time.
Yeah,
So I don't blame him, but still, just a little,
Disney's gonna give him that deal, don't you think? Yeah, I
it,
think he's gonna come on board for a little
offer
while.
he can't refuse.
At Lucasfilm.
Yeah.
Oh man, I had a thought just a second ago, but
Hopefully we get something soon.
yeah, hopefully. I think he's. Well, you know, when the teaser came out for 7 on Thanksgiving, I mean,
Right.
were they? I think they were wrapped, weren't they? Were they wrapped shooting?
I don't remember. I do not.
I think they started shooting earlier that year.
Mhm.
And I think they were wrapped already.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
So, you know, he had stuff in the can already, and I think
Right.
the marketing started early on that. So it's true that since they're shooting, it might not be ready to. He might not know what he wants to. I mean, do you think he knows?
Excuse me.
Do you think would they went into shooting knowing the title of the movie?
I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't.
I wouldn't be surprised either. Or that it maybe changed.
Yeah,
you
it
know?
changed. Very, very possible. I mean, you don't even need as many shots as they showed in the first teaser, Force Awakens. Like, you don't need 88 seconds. You just give us 2 shots. I don't care. Title and a couple of shots.
I would take a couple voices on black.
Well, like you remember the Dark Knight teaser trailer? All it was audio with Bruce Wayne talking to Alfred,
Yes.
and you saw the logo kind of in like the fire
glass thing.
Yeah. Well, Glass was Dark Knight Rises. The Dark Knight was the bat logo with the blue flame.
Oh, that's right.
Coming
Yeah,
out
that's
like
right.
light.
Yeah,
light coming out from
that's
it.
right.
I think
That's
it did
right.
break up at the end. I think it broke apart maybe, and you heard the Joker for the first time. at the end of that.
Yes.
But yeah, it was all voices. I think Harry Potter even did that too. They had a teaser for one of their later films, and all it was Voldemort, well, not Voldemort, but Dumbledore and Harry Potter talking to each other. So yeah, that's fine. Just give us some audio.
Yeah.
Ray and Luke talking to each other. Well, that'd be crazy.
Yeah, totally.
Whatever. I'm not gonna
Can you imagine if all you saw in the Rogue One trailer was just a black screen and then the red lightsaber igniting?
No, they just went ahead
If that
and
was
showed
it?
that.
Yes.
Ugh.
Do you imagine though if that was all you saw?
Yeah.
Rogue One?
Well, that would have completely have changed perception of the film. It's like I would have thought like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be Vader's gonna be like in this, and he's gonna be a main
Exactly.
bad guy. But
like,
then suddenly,
who wouldn't have gone and paid for that movie?
So-
Like just on that image alone.
if that's all we got, then yeah, but we would have gotten a totally different movie, obviously.
Yes.
knowing that Vader's only in a couple small parts, but still, that would have.
But you knew from the the posters and stuff like that there was you knew the story a little bit. But in the end, we got a different movie than what we saw in the trailers
exactly.
anyway.
It's true. Yeah, I was totally expecting something else.
Totally expecting
Different
Jin
third act.
and the group running under AT-ATs getting fired
And
upon.
she's got the plans in her hand right there.
Yeah.
No?
No, never happened. So marketing's a funny thing. It's you expect trailers could trailers could completely heighten your expectations, obviously, and heighten your interest. But then, there's a number of movies you can think of probably that you just got disappointed. So excited for the trailer, got in there and just disappointed.
Well, a lot of people have been saying that for Star Wars in general, to where you see the trailer and it's like every Star Wars movie that's been coming out so far with the 4 films, maybe except for Solo, but everyone that's come out, I keep thinking this is gonna be my favorite Star Wars movie ever. And then I see it, it's still great, but not the best. And but But Last Jedi really felt that way with the teasers.
Yes.
That were just like,
That was going to be so good.
This is going to be my favorite movie of all
I
time.
know.
It wasn't, but I still like it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Yeah. Actually, you say that. It's funny you say that because I feel like the Rogue One trailers were probably got me the least excited.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and maybe not as well done. Like, I feel like the Force Awakens had a great trailer, especially the Chewie We're Home.
Oh yeah.
Last Jedi, like you said, was phenomenal. I mean, I loved every minute of that.
Yeah.
Even Solo, I loved the
way
clicking.
they edited it. Yeah, it was great.
And the music.
Very nostalgic.
It was different, and it was a really good trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Rogue One, I would say, was probably the least favorite trailer, but to me, my favorite movie of the four.
That's good. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I loved, from that teaser, it was seeing, so far we've got nothing but nostalgia with these movies, but it's Rogue One especially, where you're seeing Mon Mothma in the trailer, and they're showing Death Star again, and they're all these.
You had no Tarkin though.
No Tarkin. Even though I missed that in the marketing, because I try to stay away from as many of those trailers as possible. Because you saw one TV spot, didn't you? Like the behind the back.
You saw the behind the back shot.
I'm glad I missed that.
But you couldn't really tell if it was him or not. You assumed it was,
Mm-hmm.
but you couldn't tell for sure.
Oh man.
But no, I completely didn't expect him to be in the movie as much as he was.
Oh yeah.
And especially have
Yeah.
like big conversations.
Like 2-3 very important scenes.
Very big scenes. And so that was a welcome surprise. And they teased Vader at the end,
Yeah, they did.
but it was just one shot. So you thought, okay, he might show up, but he's not going to be involved.
Talking about seeing Vader for the first time, if they had used that, and I've said this before on the show, that's what they need to do with Luke, I think. In the first teaser, an early trailer, just go ahead and show him.
Yeah.
People are so fatigued right now. Give him something to be excited again by showing him Luke Skywalker doing something cool. If he is doing something cool in this movie, which why would? Come on,
I know.
throw a little bone.
But do you think,
just a little one?
they could afford to do that? I guess well, I don't know. I think they could be at a stage where they're like, they could be at the stage where they say, we have to give the fans something to come.
Yeah,
because maybe they're reluctant right now with the way Solo performed and the way The Last Jedi. Last Jedi performed well, but a lot of backlash came out of it.
No, I could definitely see like Bob Iger or someone from up top just being like, show Luke Skywalker.
Yes.
Just do it.
Yeah.
Give him something to be excited about.
Yeah.
From the top down, because if they do that, then I think people are going to be so enthralled.
Do you think, I know we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves here, but do you think this film wins back those fans?
Well, I think it could.
Do you think do you think those fans even just boycott the movie?
Well, I don't think JJ is going to give. I don't think, even though some people would say his history would contradict what I'm about to say, but I don't think he's going to give everybody the movie that they want.
Yeah.
Not maybe to the extreme of Rian Johnson. Even though hindsight, he really prepared everybody. He should have in the trailer Luke saying it's not going to go the way
it's
you think.
exactly. I felt that way.
Yeah,
yes,
we talked a little bit about that. So I don't think JJ is going to do a complete remake of Return of the Jedi like people have kind of feared he was going to do, because that's kind of how Force Awakens was. But I would think he's going to make a movie that definitely appeals to the mainstream of the audience, such as give everybody really cool moments. I think he will give Luke Skywalker a really cool moment that is very satisfying. I think he's going to give many satisfying moments, because he did that with Force Awakens, with Han Solo, and with all those guys, all the original people. So besides Luke, because he was at the end. But I still think he'll do something unique, because it's at the end, and he's got a.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think it's going to be too earth shattering.
Agreed. Yeah.
Like, of course, I would say, of course, that the Jedi is not going to die. I mean, the Jedi should hopefully.
They better
come back.
not.
So I don't know. Yeah, we're a little ahead of ourselves, but still,
Yeah,
I don't think it's going to be too crazy, but still a little surprising.
But I do think it's in the trailers that will decide whether or not fans who hated The Last Jedi will come back.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because I'm convinced that a big majority of fans even if they didn't like The Last Jedi that much, they weren't the haters of it, and they will come to episode 9. But I do think that group will do everything they can to stay away from it. But I think the marketing could, turn their minds a little bit. And it's funny. I never noticed before, but there was, I don't know if you saw this weekend, TNT did a huge Star Wars marathon.
Yeah.
All the movies, even leading up to episode 7, was on Sunday night. But I turned it on when episode 1 was starting, right? I happened to have it on TV. Do you remember when The Force Awakens first came out? We're sitting in the theater, and it got talked about afterwards. The first line of the movie.
Oh, Lorson, take his line there. Yeah.
Yes.
Make things right.
Yes. This will begin to make things right. And everybody took that as okay, so this is fixing all the problems that Star Wars has had, especially with the prequels, and setting a new course. This is Disney's new course, right? Do you remember what the first line is in episode 1?
Was it Obi-Wan's line?
Yes.
When he lands into, was it not I have a bad feeling about this?
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Isn't that ironic?
Well, it's like going into it very uneasy.
Going into the prequels.
Like,
the first line saying,
about this.
I got a bad feeling about this.
That's a...
And right when I heard that, I was like, holy cow.
Big coincidence. Yeah.
Is that not ironic?
That very much.
The first line of the prequels is, I have a bad feeling about this. And then, of course, we got the reactions from some of what they were to them. And then all of a sudden in episode 7, the first of that trilogy was, this will begin to make things right. It's like,
jeez.
How is that not so...
I think George Lucas just subconsciously put that in there because he was afraid of how it was going to go.
I don't know. But of all the first lines to reintroduce Star Wars, it says, I have a bad feeling about this.
I mean, of course, it's a good line to bring everybody back because it's that recognized line.
Yes.
It's like, oh, he said it. Oh, it's a Star Wars.
It's already there.
Oh, we're at Star Wars
there,
again.
yeah.
But then how it unfolded, obviously.
I know.
Was different, but
interesting. It's so weird. I was so weirded out by that because I rewound it. Like, what?
Well,
actually, I take that back. It's not the first line.
Is it not? Oh, when they're in the ship,
it's not the very first line.
Oh, but
sorry,
still, I mean,
it's not the very first line, but the first line by a Jedi.
Yeah, it's
in a sense.
It's
or
soon.
Obi-Wan's first line.
No,
sorry.
The first line. Yeah, it was probably they were on the ship, wanting to land.
Don't hate me out there about that. That's not the first line. I get it. It's not the first line, but it's.
But I was going to kind of unpack that a little more because it is a good point to where the first couple scenes, obviously, of any movie sets the whole thing in motion and gives you a good idea of how the rest was going to play out. But yeah, like even the first scenes, kind of the first pieces of dialogue from Last Jedi, it was started. Okay, you're on Dakar there, and you had Carrie Fisher's daughter talking to that guy. But then they go, and then you have the whole banter with Hux and Poe. That's such a very early exchange in the film, a very early scene, and very first few pieces of dialogue being thrown around. And to me, when I first heard it. Yeah, that was the first time I was like really thrown for a loop, thinking like, "What's going on?" Like, this is incredibly different. So,
I did feel different listening to them talk, and I was like,
"It didn't sound Star Wars."
Yes, it didn't sound like what we got in episode 7.
Yeah.
Whereas when you go I feel like when you go from A New Hope to Empire, and then to Jedi, there's still that common feeling. Even though they were different directors, there was still that normalcy to them. You felt like they were sequels. And I agree. I felt like some parts of Last Jedi, the characters changed a little bit.
It did, and even Hux especially really changed as a character.
Absolutely,
that was one of the.
I'm not afraid of him anymore.
No, exactly. And that was one of the big things. Leaving Force Awakens, going into Last Jedi, where I was really excited to see what Hux was going to do because he was one of the biggest surprises of Force Awakens. I didn't know how much I was going to love him, and Domhnall Gleeson did fantastic, and he was so powerful in how he performed as Hux. And then now he's a little bit of a goofball now, because he's being tossed around like a rag
And the
doll.
hard part about it is it would have been more. I would have accepted it a little bit more probably had there been a time jump. You know what I'm saying? Like if there, because with Empire there was 3 years, so it's possible that characters with experience have changed a little bit, and their demeanor have changed maybe, or the way they view things, right? But Last Jedi is right up against The Force Awakens. Like there's no time.
Yeah.
Like there's no way he should have changed that way. And it's just there's no time there to have a different experience or experience something else that'll make a character change a little bit.
I mean, they didn't.
So it's a hard sell when you're, the movies are 2 years apart, but in the movie it's the next minute.
Yeah, and they didn't. Now I'm thinking about it, they didn't even seem too distraught. First Order, that Starkiller base was just destroyed.
Exactly.
Like Hux,
right?
It's like business as usual.
Yeah,
I guess maybe they weren't worried
lost
about it.
I guess, I don't know. They have Snoke's ship and a dreadnought still, so they can just destroy. I mean, that's the thing. Yeah, the dreadnought can still come and destroy bases. It's like, I mean, yeah, you're not destroying planets, but
there's even systems.
Yeah, but there was no. Yeah, it felt like they left Starkiller base and immediately jumped in their Star Destroyers and went to Dakar. And
they all raced back, basically. Like Poe and everybody left Starkiller base. Like they all, like both sides of the battle, just raced away towards the base, which is interesting.
Very interesting. So, yeah, because I mean, we know that there wasn't much time because where we left Rey, she was still there handing the lightsaber.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like we know there wasn't like a day or two. It literally was. It literally was like right after the base exploded.
Interesting.
Very interesting, and that all stemmed from talking what we want out of this trailer. But let's look back though, because even though we know 2019 is going to be a big year, 2018 was a big year, and a little bit ups and downs. I think I'm looking at this article on theforce.net where they kind of talked about the year in review, and the big thing was the last 7 episodes that concluded the Star Wars Rebels series. A lot of things happened in that series in just a short 4 years. We got introduced to a whole new crew, but then we got introduced to the return of Rex and Ahsoka mainly. But the show ended in an incredible way, I think, in a way that I don't think anybody really saw coming. There was obviously a big question of how are they going to explain that Thrawn is not around for the Civil War, the 3 main trilogy, the 3 main films. Where's Ezra? Where's, Kanan dies, so that explains that. But so it made sense that, they hyperspace away and they're gone for a while. But the time jump that happens, that was a big reveal, I think.
So
and seeing Ahsoka older, I mean, that's pretty incredible.
I have not been so excited on a conclusion of a story like that. I haven't felt that in a long time, I feel like, where Filoni just masterfully closed the door, but opened so many other possibilities for the future stories. I mean, we're still talking about it, and he did. I mean, we shouldn't be too surprised because he did that with Clone Wars, to where when he did the Ghost of Mortis, that's one of the most talked about story arcs of the Clone Wars that we're still asking questions about.
That's right.
So he's such a great. Him and his team are so great at creating those threads and building upon it and giving us more and more to want. And as we're still wanting a conclusion finally to Ahsoka's story, to figure out what's happening, where are we going, and now to conclusion, to Ezra, to Sabine. Where are they going? Like,
yes,
they're going to find them somehow. They're going on that journey. So we still really bad want that story, and there's so many possibilities of tying it now into the live action. We all hope and dream of like all these awesome fan theories of they could bring Ahsoka into the Mandalorian, they could bring Sabine in there, they could tie all this stuff together and do so many fantastic things that would be such fan service in a way, just because we've been thinking about it for a long time now. But they probably won't. They'll probably do other stories that don't relate, and Filoni might be holding on to these characters for a very special time, and put it on Disney Plus. I don't know. So, but yeah, the end of Rebels was incredibly sad and incredibly exciting at the same time.
Yeah.
Strangely.
So, where, in your opinion, basically Ezra, or any of them, any of the surviving crew, even Hera and Jason Syndulla, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Or Jarrus. Is it Jarrus or Syndulla?
Jason Syndulla. Oh, I think it's Syndulla.
Is it Syndulla? I can't remember.
Yeah, I think he took Syndulla. I don't know.
I mean, where do you think we see these characters next?
Gosh.
I mean, I think there's some truth to the rumors that Sabine may show up in Mandalorian.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know though. I don't know. I kind of feel like maybe there might be a mention of her, or maybe her clan.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I don't know if she could show up there. But I do think, in my opinion, I think there will be another series, another animated series that looks like that, not like Resistance. Goes back to that, and I think it's another series that shows up on Disney Plus. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Like his third animated series that's about those characters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I almost expect a mention of a reference to Sabine and Mandalorian, just because you're in that world, and that's, we still don't know all the answers from, I guess, where Rebels leaves off before they show that flash forward scene where you're post Return of the Jedi. You're still talking 4 or 5 years, about 5 years there of story that we're missing from Sabine and Ahsoka. So whether or not she was I can't remember if her VO said that she was gone from Mandalore that entire time and she was always on Lothal with Ahsoka and with the whole Ghost crew. Were they always on Lothal that time? And then Hera just kind of went back and forth as she was called to the Alliance. Or
I think Sabine remained on Lothal.
Yeah, so maybe her legacy isn't felt as much by the time we get to the Mandalorian timeline.
Now, the Zeb went back to his...
we went back to his homeworld.
His homeworld.
Right.
So you had Chopper and Hera that show up. You know that from the comics, and she's actually she's on Hoth. Mm-hmm. She's on Endor. Mm-hmm. So she's involved in the Civil War.
Right.
We know she's on Yavin during Rogue One. So it's like, that has to be after all this happens, right? Because so that's kind of in that Ghost crew, like Zeb is probably not in there. Sabine's probably not in there. It's probably just Chopper, Hera, and a whole nother crew, right?
Yeah, Jason's somewhere probably. Probably in Yavin, probably in the base.
Where's Jason? Yeah, so
or Lothal, safely on Lothal, maybe, but no, there's still a lot of story to be told in that gap, and hopefully we'll get that. But yeah, Mandalorian, I almost expect a reference for her clan and for her specifically, maybe just as to even say she's off on. We don't know where she is, even as small reference as that. Somehow if it's tied to it, I don't know, because we still don't know much about the Mandalorian character himself. He could be in that clan, he could be part of another clan, or who knows. And gosh, yeah, Ahsoka. Who knows what's going on? It's just so much excitement.
Yeah, so much. So Rebels, fantastic series, came to a close after just 4 short years. I'm trying to go in order a little bit, but so the next thing obviously the big thing that came out was May, Memorial Day. We got Solo this year. Now, just my quick, again, short review of the movie was, watching that movie the first time, I really enjoyed that movie. Like I really, I didn't let, the fact that it wasn't Harrison Ford bother me. That it wasn't Billy D. Williams.
Right.
I went in there thinking, okay, I'm just going to worry about the story. I'm just going to worry about the acting, and I'm worry about, learning about what's happening with these characters, and I really enjoyed it. I thought Ron Howard did a great job, and the way I was able to, I feel like the way that I was able to accept Alden was that, it goes back to one of the episodes we talked about where Pablo had mentioned how, you just kind of got to think of these as these are like, so it's like someone telling the story
right.
of these characters, and it's not someone's description of somebody's not always going to be the same. So even though his likeness is one way, now again, we talked about if you're going to do something that's close to the same age, then I may have a problem. This is still 10 years before, so I can kind of get by. Now, in all honesty, if he was a horrible actor, then it's unforgivable. You know what I mean? Like if it's just a bad acting job, which some people argue that it was, but I thought he did great.
Yeah.
I thought he did great with what he had. I thought he did great with the story. I thought, obviously Kira or, Emily Clark is a great actress. Just the visual of Solo was incredible. Seeing Kessel, seeing Corellia, it was just, I felt like it was well done. I think the only main issue I had, again, we talked about it this year, was that I feel like they should have done more of a connection with some of the other movies. Like you bring in Saul Guerrero at the end,
or some of the bounty hunters,
or some
they
of the
referenced them, but
yeah, exactly. But you bring him in and see him and make more of a connection. I think that's the only thing they lacked. I think showing Enfys Nest bringing the coaxium to a Saul Guerrero, to Forrest Whitaker, with a young Jyn Erso sitting there, I think you would have made a lot of people happy, which is in the book.
Yeah,
it's in the novel. So it did happen, in a sense. So, but anyway, I think they would have done better if they released it now, but they didn't.
Yeah,
and they suffered the consequences of the box office. But I think in the end, I don't know. I think in the end, a lot of people will still rank that as one of their favorite movies.
Oh, yeah, I hope so. I mean, like you. I definitely I liked it a lot. I greatly enjoyed it. I mean, hands down, it's got one of the best cameos surprises at the end of any Star Wars movie. Save maybe the Vader scene, but and that's one thing that we said also is that to me, Solo opened the door to bringing, even though Maul started in live action, but bringing small screen storylines, small screen characters to the big screen. So Maul, obviously, in Clone Wars came back and he had a whole storyline there, and Rebels. And that's kind of what we saw in Solo. We saw in a sense, the Clone Wars Rebel era Darth Maul with Sam Witwer's voice.
Yeah.
The way he looked, it's just incredible. Super amazing, super exciting, because that just leaves the room open for Ahsoka to come live action, for Sabine to come into live action, or for to a bigger screen. And you don't have to worry. To me, you don't have to worry about too much exposition. Like you asked earlier, when do we see Jason again or Hera again? If we see Jason in Episode 9, who knows?
That's true.
He doesn't be a main character, but he could be a side character. You can try to explain him, but you don't have to. I don't think. If he's just there,
he actually really could show up in Episode 9. Yeah.
I mean, there's plenty of room for that. So,
or in Mandalorian.
Or absolutely, Mandalorian's a great time period where, you could have Sabine, Ahsoka, any of those people.
Yeah.
Jason would be maybe a couple years older than where we saw him.
Yeah,
in
he'd be maybe
Rebels.
9 or 10 year old.
Yeah, so I think it works perfectly, but whether or not they're going to do it, I don't know. And but I just love that it's possible. I think it's a very exciting time.
Yeah, and I agree with the Maul scene in Solo. I think that was meant to make that connection, with Episode 1 as well as to the Clone Wars. But in my opinion, I don't know if they could have pulled it off. Maybe they couldn't or tried, but I feel like you should have shown him in real life than through a hologram.
Yeah.
Like you could have easily had her leave and go to Dathomir.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because we haven't seen Dathomir in live action. It's like,
Yeah.
if you would have saw that ship going to I mean, no one wouldn't really know. You didn't have to say Dathomir. No. You could have just saw, and people like us would have been like, "Whoa, that looks familiar."
What if they? But just think, what if they did say Dathomir? You're already thinking like, what? Why,
yes.
Why is she there?
Or that? Yes.
Yeah, but
or
still,
like, why is he going there?
Yeah.
Or why is she going there?
Yeah.
And then she walks in, and then he's there sitting on a throne, and I mean, I would have flipped out. I mean, people would have freaked out. So it's like, I think there could have been, but that's money, that's budget. That they already spent half of it again reshooting that movie, so it would have been tougher to do for sure. So there, we got Solo, we got another movie, we got the fourth movie in the Disney era. Now the big surprise came at San Diego Comic-Con a couple months later, where we got revealed that the Clone Wars was coming back.
Yeah, Clone Wars saved.
Yeah, now that I remember the day that happened, because I think we were at work, and I actually grabbed you.
Yeah.
And I don't think I told you. I think I remember saying, you guys got to watch this.
No, but we knew the panel was happening that day.
We knew the panel was happening, sure.
And we had talked like...
Because this was 10-year anniversary.
Yeah, and we of course we speculated. Like, this has got to be something. It's going to be something they're going to show.
Yeah, well, but I think none of us speculated that it was coming. The series was coming back. I felt like maybe we'll get another episode, or we might get like... I don't know.
Some more animatic
stuff, or an announcement of like a new book coming, or we had this storyline, now it's a comic. I don't know. I did not expect, no matter how bad I wanted it, the entire series was going to come back and finish
exactly
in a way that he wanted to finish it.
Right.
I still don't think I don't think those are the last 12 episodes.
I'm not gonna get my hopes up that much.
Because we have not been told these are the final episodes. Mm-hmm. I mean, a lot of people are still characterizing it as season 7.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's like these 12, and I think it's possible they will gauge the interest of those 12, and then see if they want to go further.
Well, yeah,
or unless he has those ideas of wrapping it up in that episodes. But I think there's so much more storylines. Mm-hmm. Because of all the animatics we saw, of all those panels we saw, I mean, he had 3 more seasons of material.
Right, and we always knew that they worked ahead of schedule. We always heard that in celebrations and interviews. And James Arnold Taylor says that same thing. He has a podcast now, side plug. Go subscribe to his podcast. It's called James Arnold Taylor Talking to Myself. It's awesome. He talks a lot about Star Wars, talks about a lot of his other franchises that he's a part of, but he mentions the same thing where, he'd known about the Clone Wars for a while, that it was coming back, but he mentioned that there was so much material that he recorded, that they all recorded for it, that they thought was done, scrapped, and on the floor, not going to be used again. And then that's why they're using some of that for what we're about to see next year. On top of that, they recorded some new stuff, I guess, to help fix some things, or maybe they changed a little bit. I don't know. So there's tons of material out there that they have recorded that they can animate to and give us more. Yeah. A lot more than, was it 13 episodes that we're getting? 12, 13 episodes?
12, I think.
So a lot more than that they could produce.
Absolutely. And it kind of makes you wonder still, because I don't think we've talked about it so much, is are these episodes ones that were in the can already? Or did they change anything? Because like you said, they were so far ahead.
Yeah. From what I've heard...
I mean, they didn't finish Bad Batch or
Crystal...
what was it called? The Crystal Crisis. Mm-hmm. It's like they didn't finish those. Like, those were still behind. So it's like I feel like these were like that in that stage. They had the audio and everything, but then they went ahead and started finishing the animation. And I hope, which I don't think they will for some reason, I hope they finish those Bad Batch and stuff like that. That make I
wouldn't finish them out.
Finish them out. Why not? I mean, that Crystal Crisis is a pretty important story with the Kyber crystals, you know? So I would hope they would finish them out and make them officially canon.
Yeah, best case scenario would be to just finish every episode that they had planned.
Yes. Well,
I think what we're given now is a crazy, huge blessing, and then to get more after this, to get a season 8, that would just I can't imagine that. That would be incredible.
Because I felt like it was going to go about 10 seasons. The way they were going and the way they were so far ahead, and
right.
I felt like they had 10 seasons in mind. Because they talked about overlapping episode 3 and even going beyond that a little bit.
And I think we'll get those huge storylines. I think we're getting basically the biggest storylines that he wanted to tell. Like if you have to close out the show and close out the Clone War itself, what stories do you need to tell that? Okay, well it's this. That's why we're not getting that the Quinlan Voss episodes, even though we got that as a book. But those type of episodes to where it's obviously in the Clone Wars, but it's not about the battle at large in a sense. It's kind of a smaller story in the grand scheme of things. I think we're getting the bigger stories here. Most of them will probably get some of the cooler, smaller stories, but I don't think we're going to get any of the throwaway episodes that they've done. The droids episodes, obviously, it's the big stories and the Siege of Mandalore, all that stuff. So I think we're going to pretty much get a very satisfying ending.
Because I think we're gonna. I think it'd be awesome to see just a different perspective of Order 66.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like seeing some of the other Jedis that we've come to know on there.
Talking about overlapping, definitely we'll see some of possibly the deaths of those Jedi.
Correct.
That we just got glimpses of.
That's right.
In the film.
Yep. And then of course, a lot of announcements, big announcements that we got this year. One being, I don't know if it was this year. I think it was this year, right? The streaming service was that announced this year, or was that announced last year?
I feel like we heard a little bit about it last year, but definitely the name and
a lot
more
year.
details. Pretty much all the details. Yeah, this year.
Disney Plus,
all the shows that we would be getting. Gosh, if we heard it last year, it had been late last year.
You know what? I think it was D23 last year, 2017, that they announced a streaming service, but they didn't know when, and I don't think there was ever really a description for it. So I think that's possible. But we got the title this year. We got the name of it. Still haven't gotten a full price list of it or what's gonna debut on it besides. The Mandalorian, which was another big announcement this year. The actual first live-action television series that we're getting from Star Wars. Of course, executive produced from Jon Favreau, who you know him as Rio and Brie Vizsla. Huge Star Wars fan. So, so that was a. I don't think anybody could really have predicted what type of live action series it was. There was obviously the talk of an Underworld series years ago from Lucas. So this is kind of like that, except I think more of a gunslinger though, and outskirts kind of wanderer kind of guy is what it seems like.
Not a 1313-esque. I think this is a close cousin, hopefully, to what we were going to get. What Lucas and the OG crew were planning up way back when. But I still wish we would get that show, the Underworld show. But we'll see.
Got obviously announcement this year that the next animated series, The Resistance, was debuting, which did on October 7th. I am actually up to the last episode. Of this year, so I've got still that to watch, and I think Captain Phasma shows up in it, which I thought about doing that tonight, finishing that up. But yeah, the series so far, in my opinion, is it's good. It's not great. I think it can be better. I think it's heading towards that. But it's kind of very similar to Rebels, took a few episodes to get into Rebels and get into the heart of what it's about.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, I'm gonna watch it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it definitely has its place. What it's trying to do, its demographic is, you know, technically speaking, was a hole for Star Wars. They weren't reaching to an age this young. I think they're hitting that, you know, because I'm a few episodes further back than you, I think. So my whole thing was there's not anything too dangerous happening, too scary, too violent. This is Disney Channel, so there's violence and there's fighting and shooting, but you're not seeing people getting hit by lasers and actually dying. You know, I think there was the episode where you had the salacious creatures.
Yes.
The monk. Poe called them something, monkeys, or I forgot what their names are.
Yeah.
But it was funny. It was humorous. So it was quite funny seeing how Poe hated him and was like just really getting angry with him. Then they had the huge one, the huge salacious big crumb, running around. So blasters were just bouncing off of him. But that actually was an episode to where Poe shot at the ceiling to scare off the other creatures, but then he saw it off screen. He actually hit one and killed one, and it fell from the ceiling down. Hilarious.
Yeah.
And that was the only time so far that I've seen. I haven't finished the episode, so where you see a death in the show, even though it was off screen and it's still kind of like a creature, and you didn't see much of it at all.
Right.
But still, like that's to the limit. Otherwise, you get the space battles and ships are getting shot down to the water, or they're getting shot and damaged and they fly away. So it doesn't, to me, it doesn't have that sense of excitement because there's no danger, and not enough danger for me to be like, oh, you know, nothing's at risk to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like the heroes are going to survive, the villains will survive most likely, but will get caught or get put away or something, you know, get strucken down somehow. But that's a storytelling for a younger audience, so I think it has its place, and I think it's doing very well. I love the animation style. I think it is funny. It's fun to watch.
Yeah.
So
right.
I'm on board, but I don't think it's going to
Definitely.
be too earth-shattering for canon. Also, I don't think.
Yeah, agreed.
But I'm open to be surprised.
Agreed. The other somewhat big announcement. Oh, well, not somewhat big announcement, which was just recent, was the Cassian Andor series that's also coming on the Disney Plus.
Gosh, yeah, 2 live action
shows. Now it's not going to probably debut, but because who knows when they're going to start? Yeah, who knows when they're going to start shooting that?
Yeah, I think it's it's just probably going to be like the Marvel Netflix shows where you'll have them sporadic.
Yeah.
Next year will be Mandalorian. Year after that will be Cassian, and then they'll flip flop a little bit. But but how spoiled are we? We're getting 2 live action shows,
right?
Where we've been asking for just one for years.
Yes, absolutely.
Animation, live action, movies.
Yeah. I mean, of course, episode 9, there wasn't really anything. I mean, the cast was announced this year to finish out, you know.
Yeah, new cast members that are cool, that are pretty exciting.
Luke returning, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Of course, you had a whole slew of comics still going on. The one big one I would say is the Charles Soule Vader series.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's fantastic. I'm still a couple of issues behind on that. Star Wars series obviously still going strong. Poe Dameron finished up, but you know, Aphra's still going. There's new comics coming. There was a short run. There was a 5-issue Lando series. The young Donald Glover Lando. Right. Novels. You know, we got Last Shot that came out right before the Solo movie. We got Most Wanted, which is a young adult novel. Is it young? It's called young adult, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Not junior.
No, junior's smaller.
Yeah. And then, of course, we got Thrawn Alliances that came out this year. So I
felt like a light year for
it was
books.
A light year because there was obviously the Solo novel came out later. It just came out back in September. I want to say, as far as young adult or adult, that's the only novels we got this year.
Phasma came out last year.
Phasma came out last year.
Yeah. Oh, that's probably. Yeah.
Canto Bight was last year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at my shelf. That's because I have all the books. I mean, it's really it was really Thrawn and Last Shot,
Yeah.
and then Most Wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, big announcements that came out this year was Master and Apprentice that's coming out first of next year.
Mm-hmm.
The Padme book that's coming out next year.
A third Thrawn book.
A third Thrawn book.
Yes. Thrawn Treason.
Treason. You're right. So a slew of novels coming out quickly next year. Of course, we'll probably get an episode 9 adaptation either December of next year or the first of 2020. Yeah, so I mean, like you said, spoiled. I mean, there's all kinds of content, not even including, I'm talking about the new Galaxy of Adventure stuff,
Yeah.
Star Wars Forces of Destiny stuff that came out, the new, the new Lego stuff. Freemaker Season 2 is dropped. You got the All Stars thing that's out there right now. I mean, the only thing I think we didn't get this year was we got the release of the next campaign of Iden,
Right.
but we didn't get really a game, like a big game.
Yeah,
right?
Battlefront had some pretty good
Updates.
They just released their Geonosis, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Grievous DLC stuff, and it is cool. It was very very good. We got some announcements for some new games, possibly next. It's just vague. Fallen Order.
Yeah, that's coming next year, I think, right? Next
Hopefully.
holiday season, I think is what they're saying.
That's what the hope is. I
It takes so long for games to come out.
Yeah, I mean, and besides the gaming world of Star Wars has just been in some aspects limping. So
Yeah.
they just.
I mean, they got the mobile one down.
Yeah.
The Force Arena or something like that,
And even the MMO, even though it's not canon, but Star Wars: The Old Republic,
Yes.
is still going very strong.
very much so. Yes. But so just a slew of announcements, a slew of content. I mean, and like I said, I think the next episode when we get back after the first of the year, we'll talk about what's coming in 2019, which is, probably double everything we just said. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, we're getting so much. I mean, just think at Celebration how much we're going to get announced.
Yeah.
Hopefully there's more direction of what Ryan Johnson's doing, what Weiss and Benioff, is it Benioff?
Benioff, yeah.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones guys.
Game of Thrones guys, what
Those
they're
guys.
doing. When Cassian Andor series is starting or whatever the official name is of that, it's like, man, I don't know. It's just, there's, of course, episode 9. There's just so much. I mean, even Disney, on the Disney side, D23 is next year, so there's possibly some things that be announced there.
Right.
The theme park is opening next year. It's like, oh my gosh.
There's no time. Get your sleep and save your money now.
Oh my gosh. I don't even, that's true. I need to start saving some money. But obviously our big announcement was that we will be back at Celebration this year.
Returning.
Do it.
So returning.
Yes.
So exciting.
I mean, not only doing our show there, but just experiencing it all again. I mean, how many have I gone to? I lost count how many I've been to, but
6 of them.
how many have there? How many is there? There's been there's been 6, and then
you've been
7,
to most
8
of them at this point.
Has there been 8 of them in the States? They've been Celebration 6, and then
I've been to 3.
They did Anaheim, and then they did Orlando.
Yeah, I've been to all the Orlando ones.
I think that's 8 of them, right?
Yeah, 8.
And then this would be the 9th one, and I've only missed the first 2, so this is my 7th. Yeah, this would be. So I've been to 6. You're right. So this will be my 7th celebration, and I'm telling you, 7th celebration since the first one I went to, which was 2005, when Celebration 3 was right before Episode 3 came out. So you're talking 13 years, so almost basically every other year, right? But that's what's so great about it, because it's not every year, and you just, the anticipation is so built up.
Yeah,
and it is such a Star Wars fan's dream is being there with all these fans and hanging out. It's incredible. So we'll of course talk about that as we get closer. But All right. I don't know. So, just real quick, what was your? I mean, what was your most memorable Star Wars memory from 2018 at all? I mean, or what surprised you the most, or what was the thing that kind of?
Yeah, I would say the most exciting time, and honestly, you just reminded me by us talking about it, was probably the conclusion of Rebels. Because when you think of just the history of Rebels itself, you know how many years it spanned. Short though it was, became so influential. And again, like you just said, it started like I got into it a little slowly. I was anticipating, I was eager and anxious to get to watching it because I was excited and I was interested in some of the new characters we were getting, but never did I imagine I would be so invested in these stories and in these new characters.
Yeah.
And if it's just one thing that this past year, has shown us is there's so many new characters and so many more characters to come that we can fall in love with, as there has to be, because Star Wars keeps going and going. You need this fresh new characters and new stories, new content, new eras to keep us through it. And this past year's been great for that, because we just got your book over there, the Women of the Galaxy book has so many fresh new characters in there. Like you just flip through the pages, and the majority of them are from the expanded universe and these expanded characters. And Rebels was fantastic, and it's opened the door for so much for more, and then that's what I'm very excited about.
I think for me, that's up there. But honestly, for me, I think I was most surprised to hear about the Mandalorian series. Like I think that was just a lingering anticipation over all these years about when are we getting a live action series. Of course, when the streaming service came on, there's a big anticipation for it. But you know what? I'm going to retract that because
why you can't do that?
I think it was the Clone Wars, the return.
Oh yeah,
I really actually thinking about it now, like. That was that day I was like, oh my gosh, it's coming back, and because we have talked about that so long, how it never ended correctly. It never ended correctly, and so that to me that is it. That's the biggest excitement for me this year was hearing that was coming back. Yeah, because it's such a good series.
You felt like you were handed the perfect platter there.
Totally.
It's like you're getting what all these episodes are concluding the stories you're getting, and what we saw in the teaser is just how it's going to tie together, and how we potentially will get that overlap. It's like, this is the perfect situation.
Yes. And I do think Kanan's going to show up in that series.
Little Caleb.
Yep. Caleb Doom.
That'd be cool.
Anyway, so all right, that's everybody, thanks for a great 2018. Thanks for sticking with us. We'll be back in 2019, of course. 1st of January, we'll do an episode talking about what we expect for the year. I was looking over your shoulder at my picture over there of Leia, Carrie Fisher, and I was thinking that didn't happen this year. But it happened in December last year, I think. I mean, it's almost been a year since, right?
It's been over a year now, yeah. Now it has.
Oh, I thought she passed
right
before the new year.
I don't think it was that late in December. I think it's been, because I remember, I think social media talking about the anniversary of when it happened. I remember not being that cold.
Was it 2 years? It wasn't 2 years ago.
It was before. It was not too long.
It wasn't right after
Last Jedi. It was soon before Last Jedi. I'm pretty sure it wasn't that. You got it right there. So.
Oh my gosh, 2016. It's almost 2 years.
Oh, well, there you go. Just kidding. Jeez, oh Pete. It's been almost 2 years.
To December.
Wow. But it was late December, though. You're right.
So it was, wait, when The Last Jedi came out last year? Yeah. So it
was been a year.
She died before Last Jedi came out.
My memory
That's right.
was
Me
totally
too.
wrong.
I thought it was only last year.
Wow.
2 years. But I knew it was right before the New Year.
Right, because she had passed before Celebration, so what were you even thinking? They had the whole memorial panel.
Which was
we were totally wrong. That was last March.
which was 17. Gosh, yeah. See, I thought it was like this year.
Yeah.
Oh my
time
gosh.
timing wibbly wobbly
Wow.
right now. So we're not on a linear path.
It
We're-
is so fast. Well, and 2018 went by
Yes,
like
it
a
did.
blink.
Yes, it did.
You know, you especially being a new father.
Yeah.
Kids.
15-month-old already.
I know, right? Can
Yeah.
you believe
60
that?
month in 2
I mean, my
days.
kid's about to turn 9
That's insanity.
in 2 days.
That's insane.
She's gonna be 9
Well, I'm already thinking like 10. Like she's 10 next year.
next year.
That's crazy.
She's
Yeah.
double digits. You know, it's like, oh my gosh. So it's like time just gets away
Yep.
from us. But anyway, but we love doing this, and we can't wait for celebration. So thanks everybody for listening. Have a great holiday season. Be with family, be with friends. Hopefully we get some great footage from episode 9 coming up, but if not, I'm sure there's just all kinds of stuff to enjoy from Star Wars, and we'll enjoy along with you. So thanks for listening, everybody. For Casey.
I will not be the last Jedi. That's
Nice.
what JJ's going to establish.
Oh, yeah.
I hope.
Yeah, that's good.
More Jedi. So.
Thanks, everybody. Take care. Go to Inside the Force for all of our stuff. He's Casey.
Goodbye, everybody.
I'm Dave. May the Force be with you.